Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Crown and today we are going to have some more stories that I hope that you will enjoy. But before we start, it will be so much appreciated if you would subscribe to the channel, like the video if you enjoyed it, and maybe leave a comment down below. These simple clicks would mean a lot to the future of this channel and really reward the effort that I put in every day. And now, without further ado, let's go! First story. Abuse me and my mother for years and keep us out of our home. Enjoy having an entire neighborhood kick you and steal your stuff. This happened way back in 2011. The reason I'm compelling to share this now is because I graduate soon with my MS degree in mechanical engineering. My grades sucked all through high school, in many ways due to Michael, the subject of this post. And I've struggled with depression and anxiety over the years. I shared this story with my girlfriend this morning and she was shocked at it. I just never thought to share it before. And she told me to boast it here. My mom dated a guy named Michael from the time I was 7 until December 17, 2010. I had just recently turned 18 and was in my last year of high school. Michael was a person who did not deal well with issues he had from his own abusive upbringing. I've been a bad person before myself and I'm sure I still have a lot of room to improve, so I never like to speak poorly of people because I think it can be accurately assumed that most people have a good reason for being the way they are. It is not an excuse, but I don't think people are bad. I think bad circumstances condition people to behave badly. Michael was a severe alcoholic. He was childish, he was obsessed with knives. Would talk about how he wished he could gut people alive. Hung around violent criminals and took me around them as a child. He was extremely verbally and emotionally abusive to my mother. My mother wanted him to be my dad though. So to his credit, he filled the dad role as best as he could. But the best he could do was to teach me extremely unhealthy relationship dynamics and how to glorify violence and bravado. At the end of high school, my mom's mom died and left my mom a house. The house was/is decently sized and, while it's still in the ghetto, it is as safe a part of the ghetto as there is. Everyone that lives in this corner of the city has been here for decades, and we all know each other very well. We're all like a big family, but we keep to ourselves unless invited in by others. We respect boundaries, and that's what makes this small community a good one. Now, it is important to know that my neighbors and older bros are not angels. These people are violent criminals in their own right. But they were on my side and that is important. So the house. It was left to me and my mother. Michael refused to let us enter the home. My mom and I lived in the smallest, worst apartment in the most violent part of the city. And for 18 years I'd only just begun to reflect on life and realize how bad Michael and my narcissistic mother had been towards me. I was fed up. And living in this disgusting, violent apartment was just fueling my rage every second. One day I was especially furious. I don't know why, I just woke up in an absolute quiet rage. Contained myself through the school day and I was just fixated on getting a haircut. That was my goal for the day. Just get a haircut, get home, go to bed. And it's very important to note that I'm in a boot for a badly sprained ankle at this point. That comes up later. My mom throws a monkey wrench in my plans. See, she was sure Michael was cheating on her again. So she demanded I go over to the house I grew up in, that he kicked us out of, to inspect and see if there was another woman, or if there was evidence of other women being in the home. I protest, but to no avail, and at this point, I'm about an inch from exploding. I drive over to the house and I knock at the door for 7 minutes. This pushed me to about 1/2 of an inch from the explosion. I grew up in this house. I knew the acoustics of it. I don't care for you in the last room upstairs at the back of the house. If someone lightly taps the front door, you hear that stuff. So I knew he was making me wait as some show of dominance that this was his house. He eventually unlocks the door and I push it open and push him back in the process. He yelled out and asked me what was wrong, and I responded by saying that I was there to make sure he wasn't with anyone else in my grandma's house. Now, I'm a pretty large guy, and Michael was small. Even back then I dwarfed him. But I've always been a gentle giant, as my mom says. I've never gotten into a fight, almost never raised my voice or asserted myself with anyone. So for me to respond so firmly and disrespectfully, with no concern for how he felt, he backed off a bit at the moment. I noticed that. I began walking through every room of the house. I was finding nothing and no one, and I was fine with this. Remember, my goal is the haircut. That's all I want out of life right now. And then I get to my grandma's old bedroom. I open the door and it slams back in my face. Then out steps Michael's brother, who was about my size, and he says to me, "Ain't nothing for you in there." I remember being so angry, it was like past the point of an explosion. I described it to my girlfriend as pure rage and malevolence, yet restrained. I had this black expression on my face, turned around and walked downstairs. And I told Michael in a calm voice, "Get your brother and leave now. I've had enough of you in my life." Michael then, believing I was intimidated by his brother, gets in my face and starts to scream and curse and threaten me. I stood there honest to God just looking at him like a lion looks at the weak, small, destructible gazelle. Literally thinking to myself, I can break you. He then yells at me to get out of my house. All of a sudden, I was snapped out of this trance state and I responded and said, "You have no house. You're homeless now. Get your brother and leave." He must have again recognized that his brother was all the way upstairs and I was inches away from him. But he's in too deep now. He has to commit lest his pride be wounded. So he says, "Oh, you think I'm a witch, huh?" And of course I responded, "I think you're a homeless witch." He then turns around and just keeps repeating, "You think I'm a witch?" And he eventually comes back with 2 knives in his hand. I see this, and at this moment, I'm very seriously okay with the thought of dying right then and there. Life had always been bad and I couldn't even get my damn haircut. This part still makes me cry even right now. So I told him, "You're gonna have to kill me the first time you swing at me with those." Then his brother comes downstairs. I never took my eyes off of Michael. His brother stands on the stairs a few feet away from Michael and I. Michael drops the knives and tries to tackle me and push me out of the house. I slip a little because of the boot, but once I get a little friction under the boot, it literally feels like when your little cousin/sibling tries to fight you. At that moment, I thought about how I was about to destroy this man. His brother must have seen me smile because then he jumped in and he started pushing me as well. I don't know if I was stronger than I thought or if the rage gave me an adrenaline rush, but I was pushing them both back. Michael's brother then starts to kick my boot, which both hurt my ankle and made me slip back. That, coupled with them pushing, eventually pushed me out of the front door, off the porch, and down the stairs onto the ground in front of the house. And this is the angriest I have ever been in my life. I was angry to the point where I would have gladly hurt myself to hurt them. I got so overcome with emotion and I started to cry and my breathing got erratic. Michael and his brother were taunting me as this happened and I just started to take off the boot. I did not want the haircut anymore. I just wanted both of them hurt or dead. The next thing I noticed is that people started surrounding me. I'm still struggling to regain motor control and take off the damn boot, and then 2 of my older brothers from the neighborhood, Jiggy and Tyrone, kneeled down and consoled me. Jiggy asked me what was wrong and what happened, and I told him about all the things Michael had done over the years and what happened that day. When I got to the end, Tyron said, "Hold up, Lil Chris. These jerks put you out of Miss Mama house? That's what everyone used to call my grandma. After you told them to leave?" Then both Jiggy and Tyron started taking their shirts off and told me they would take care of them, but only if I said it. And I then heard all the stirring behind me. Damn near the entire block was in our yard, or in the street in front of our yard, and they were all calling out support. "He ain't gonna do you like that, Lil Chris, not on this street," and things like that. I looked up at Michael and his brother and I could see the fear on their faces. I just shook my head yes and said not to kill them. Jiggy and Tyron ran in the house after them and dragged them out into the front yard. Then a circle pretty much formed around them and it was just the most spectacular beatdown I'd ever seen. After that, Jiggy said they would help me take all their stuff out of the house and told me to keep the stuff I liked. So I did exactly that. I went in with like 10 people. I gave some stuff away to them, kept some stuff, and pretty much just gave Michael and his brother the clothes no one else wanted. They ended up leaving their clothes. And here's why. The next door neighbor was this old veteran, real gritty, no-nonsense old guy named Alvin. Alvin walked out with his shotgun. He walked over to these two bloody pulps on the lawn and said, "Now get off my street." And he literally just yelled at them to get up and run or crawl or roll to get off the block. He followed them stumbling up to the main road and then he calmly walked back. And that was the last day I ever saw or heard from either of them. Next story. Entitled Mother Slapped Me After Her Kid Stole My Console. This happened 6 years ago. The fence that is facing the entitled mother was kinda old, so we took it down and rebuilt it. The entitled kid of the story was a 5-year-old boy, I think, that ran around his yard every day, and when he saw the opportunity, he entered our house and looked through our stuff. We told him and his mom about the entrance in our house and she said, "He is only a child and doesn't know what he's doing." The fence was done after 4 days. It was a big fence. One time I was exhausted after work and I went to drink a glass of water and think about life or something while I was resting on a couch. And I saw with the corner of my eye a small gremlin entering my room. I was shocked. I shouted at him and he ignored me. I shouted again and he took my Xbox 360. It was on a table and he just ran. I couldn't catch him. He ran back to his house with me chasing after him, but he was quick. He entered the house and locked the door. I knocked and I knocked till the entitled mother opened the door. "Your child stole my console." Then out of nowhere she slapped me. And she said, "Don't speak with me in that language, idiot. My angel did not steal anything." I screamed for my father to come and speak with that witch and she closed the door in my face. After 2 minutes, I came back with my dad to recover my console. Dad tells her, "Hey, give back the console or I will call the police." "Go ahead, witch. I will press charges on you." We call the police and 2 police officers arrived after a while. The first one asks what seems to be the problem. I told him that kid stole my console. I would not give it back. And also the entitled mother in this house slapped me right across the face. The first police officer knocks at the entitled mother's door. "Ma'am, open the door." "Go screw yourself. I didn't do anything." After 5 or so minutes of arguing, the entitled mother opened the door. "Ma'am, give back the console or you will need to come with me." "He is too old for it." I was 10 at the time. "My kid needs it." "Ma'am, that's not a reason to steal something." "No, screw you and your stupid game." She proceeds to enter and get the console. And of course she wouldn't give it up nicely. She actually threw it with full power at me. It shattered and she was obliged to pay for it. and it broke my tooth somehow. The second police officer handcuffed her and got her in the car, and she spat at him. Of course, we ended up pressing charges at this crazy woman. Long story short, she was charged with trespassing and assault. Next story. My best friend sent the wrong text and ruined her bachelor party. This happened about 8 years ago and I have forgotten about it until another post reminded me of it. Many moons ago, I worked at a local big box store as a department manager. I knew a lot of the people who worked there because it's a small town, so most of us went there to work after graduating high school. A very old friend started working there too and we instantly clicked again. I'll call her Cher for this post. Cher's fiancé worked there too, so we all became pretty close. Take breaks and lunches together and help each other out if needed. I thought we were all good friends. And little did I know that was not the case. After a while, Cher is actively planning out her wedding. The bachelor party comes up and she wants to go to Atlantic City for the weekend. I thought that was a great idea, and I had never been there before. I offered to book the room in a nice hotel. From now, the Hard Rock. So the next day I booked it and told her it was all set up. Now during this, my ex-husband and I were having some issues. I would talk to her about it because I thought I could trust her. Barely a week after I made the reservations, I received a text from her that wasn't meant for me. I don't remember the exact words, but she basically called me pathetic and annoying and used my name in that text. She was referring to my marital problems. I sat for a minute and responded that I think she meant to text that to someone else. She made some lame excuses about autocorrect or something, and I knew it was nonsense. Fast forward about a month. The bachelor party is almost here. Everyone is so excited to spend the weekend in a nice hotel on my dime. I was excited too, but for a different reason. You see, after I got that text, I cancelled the reservations and did not mention it. I waited until it was too late for them to get another room. When I did drop the bomb, she was not impressed. I said something pretty along the lines of, "An annoying, pathetic person is not paying for your stupid weekend. Get lost." They still went but had to sneak into her fiancé's hotel room and fit 10 people in a double queen. They had a bad time, and I used the money to get a new tattoo that weekend instead. Money well spent. It was worth it for me. And now we have reached the end of today's stories. Thank you for watching and see you next time.